Welcome, everybody. I'm your host, Bambino Brown. Welcome to my show, WTF. Yes, yes. This is a show that's tackling tough subjects that people usually don't want to talk about, but it always comes with a positive conclusion. Always ending with love and light. The show is aiming to bring the world one step closer to celebrating this wonderful thing called life. But in order to get there, we're going to have some turbulence on this ride, on this journey, because things aren't always that easy. I mean, sometimes I'm like, what the movie are y'all watching? When we look at media and the way that they're lying to people and the way that they control the masses, all I can say is, what the movie are y'all watching? Because you can't be watching the same program that I'm watching, because I see people's responses to the media and to things they call conspiracy theories and all of these things. And I'm like, I'm just perplexed. So with the show WTF, we're going to go through a lot of different topics over this journey. This is our pilot episode, or we can call it episode 1. However, we'll figure that part out later. But we're going to tackle subjects like America, and how long can America be a bully before your time is up? How long can any bully be a bully before their time is up? Eventually somebody pulls your card or kicks your ass or takes your spot or things of that nature. So with all of these tough subjects, we're still going to keep a positive ending, because at the end of the day, what if we had good news? What if the media wasn't always negative, negative, negative? Somebody died, war, fear, 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 fear. What if they gave you positive information all day? What would that do to your spirit? How would everybody move in a world where we were talking about the positive things all day? So we'll get to that part. And before I get too far, I want to acknowledge that this program is brought to you by God. God woke me up this morning. God woke you up this morning. So we want to give all praises to the Most High, and God bless you all, and God bless this program. So like I said, the first topic probably, well, not in this order chronologically, but America. How long can America be the bully? That'll be one thing we'll talk about. We'll talk about mass media's control and mind manipulation of the masses of people through fear and negative news. That may be a whole nother topic in itself. As I'm sending this show out to different people, I want to pull in guests. I'll have a guest today. I'll let you know about him in a second. But I definitely want all my friends and people in the entertainment world, in the business world, in the corporate world. I want to bring guests on, even guys in the street. I want to bring on different guests to talk about these subjects, because I feel like everybody's opinion is very important to this thing that we call truth. We'll be working a segment also to initiate, like I said, the good news. That will eventually become its own entity. So we want to create the good news eventually. That'll spin off of this show later, so we can have like a CNN or MSNBC or Fox that gives everybody the good news. But yeah, let's go through another topic that we'll be talking about is the homeless situation throughout the United States, mainly in California. We'll be talking about gang banging. We'll address the gang culture problem within the black community and discuss ways to fix the situation and our fixation with this genocide. If you think about it, 10% of our community are thugs, gang bangers, etc., pimps, hoes, whatever you want to call it, just negative energy in our neighborhoods. But 90%, and even if we said 20% are thugs and 80% are civilians, but we know that a small percentage are the problem. 80 to 90% are civilians in the community. So why do we allow these things to fester in our community? I grew up in LA. Gang problem was really bad in the 80s and 90s, and we never fixed it. And here we are in 2024. We're supposed to have flying cars and shit, and we're still talking about and blood and killing each other all day. So I'm gonna bring on some real Crips and some real Bloods and some people to tackle these conversations to see if we can give our brothers in the hood a badge of honor and say, man, y'all lived through one of the craziest wars of our lifetime, but it's time to move on, baby. We got Jay-Z's and billionaires and lawyers and doctors and people that are doing so many positive things and taking business to another level. I can't believe that we're stuck as a community on such a low vibration and frequency. And I feel like it's time for somebody to tackle the conversation. I've been one of those guys since I was a young, like 40 would say, a young mustache in the hood, dealing with kids getting shot when I was in junior high, friends getting killed. And I just thought, man, what are we doing? And I never wanted to be a part of that because I saw what it was doing to my brothers and my friends and my community. And I always wanted to change it. I just can't believe after this many years have passed, we're still talking about the same old shit. So that's one topic we'll talk about. We'll also talk about hip hop music and its influence on the youth. You know, I'm a hip hop artist, you know, first into this entertainment thing, but I'm also a businessman in entertainment. And I've produced documentaries and films and wrote them. And now I'm doing this show. What the movie are y'all watching? WTF. And we're going to tackle a subject about hip hop and why we don't own distribution in hip hop. Why we don't capitalize on a genre that is the biggest genre arguably ever in music. It's gone for 50 years now. It's the largest, most influential music across the world. Yet we don't own distribution in our own genre of music. How is that? What the movie are y'all watching? If the Chinese made the best music and we were listening to Chinese music, do you think they would come to us to distribute the music, or to the Jews, or to anybody? Why aren't we distributing our own music? And why are we putting people like Sexy Red and Lil Nas X to teach our children? I mean, I get it, to each his own for adults, but why would we put that on the national stage and only give our children that? We don't have any more Lauryn Hills or Queen Latifahs or people to enlighten our children. We want to give them all Sexy Red, the girl who's pregnant with the drink in her hand, shaking her ass. We want to give that to our daughters? What the movie are y'all? Are you fucking serious? Lil Nas X dancing on the devil's lap? Be gay all you want, but don't put that to our children. Not where they can get to it right away. Do you think we should have that for our kids? I'm just saying, are you watching the same movie as me, or am I seeing something else? That's all I'm saying. So we'll also tackle another touchy subject, because this shit is going to be touchy. Everything we talk about, we're stepping over the fucking line of, I'm scared to talk about that. I have no horse in the race. I ain't scared to lose my label deal. I'm not scared to lose nothing. So I'm ready to talk about the truth. So we're going to tackle the LGBTQ conversation and its correlation to children. I have gay family members. I have gay people that I love. I love everyone. But do we give this to our children? Do we need to have drag queens in elementary schools? Hello? Do we need to let children cut off their genitals before they're old enough to even know what sex is? Hello? Do we need to have drag queen strippers around toddlers and 3 and 4 and 5-year-olds at pride events? Shouldn't Child Protective Services be taking those parents in and taking the kids away from them if they bring them to these hypersexualized events? You think? Or nah? What the movie are y'all watching? We can talk about Gaza after that. I'll bring on some guests to talk about Gaza and Ukraine and why we're spending our tax dollars in that realm when we have so many wars right here in Chicago and LA, right here in LA and Chicago and Detroit and all of these cities. Why are we spending our money in Gaza and in Israel? We want to help Gaza. We know what the struggle is like being black in America. But you can't paint your neighbor's house before you paint your own. If your house is fucked up, how are you going to go to and paint your neighbor's houses all around the world? Your house is fucked up right here. So America, we want to talk about those things. We want to talk about fixing our problems here, including the homeless, the poverty line, and being such a far differential from poor and rich. We want to talk about how to bring that closer so that we don't have a mess of a country. So we're going to get right into it. I got a guest coming on right now. Start this first episode off. My dog, we've been friends many years. He's a real estate investor. He's also a producer of film, television, and digital tech. Mikael, what it do, homie? Let's get this thing rolling, man. How you doing today?
I'm excellent, man. I like your topics. I mean, you're hitting all the nails, man. And then these are things that nobody are talking about, but they're affecting our everyday lives. So yeah, man, thank you for having me on your show.
I appreciate it, man. These are some fucking tough subjects. I want to give a shout out to Jakeem Stewart and Drobe Stogies. Rest in peace, Jakeem. He just passed away. That's my brother, my gent brother. And we talked about having these conversations for many, many moons. Also, my father and I, we've been talking about really sitting at a round table like this. You and I as well. We're constantly talking about these subjects. And I just thought it's time to bring this to people. Are so scared to talk about real shit these days. And behind the media, we're all talking about this shit. So why not have a show where we can actually talk about some real things? It's going to be edgy. It's going to ruffle some feathers.
As it should.
As it should. This is not an easy thing to talk about for a lot of people. Most people want to close the door and they don't want to watch that movie. Or they want to act like they're not seeing that movie. But this is real life.
Or if they say something about it, they're scared something's going to happen to them.
Exactly.
From the Gestapo.
Exactly. That's why I can't have any of my entertainment friends on. So I call my actor buddies. They'll be like, I can't lose my contract. My contract? It makes me. And, even people that are financially secure and super paid, they won't talk about this kind of shit because they're scared they're going to lose. At some point, you got to have enough money and then your integrity has to come into play. I like what Monique was saying with, what's the dude? Steve Harvey. Well, I'm not a fan of Steve Harvey. I'll put that right out there. All that whole, I'll be a monkey for money and all. He's showing us that that's what he'll do for money. But I don't think that that's the right way to go about it. I think you should stand for something or fall for anything. And if we show the kids that we'll do anything for money, then we're not making the money's making us. And that's not how I was brought up. And that's not my moral compass. And,
we need to change the vocabulary first. It's currency.
Hello.
So currency is always moving. What they talk about when you have a good economy, everybody's spending money and it's going down and it's being spent 9 different times and everybody's being affected. What is that? That's the movement of money. So, and if you look at currency when it goes down a stream, it has a current, right? For sure. And guess what slows it down?
What's that?
The banks.
They got so much money. They're just doubling all our money. I mean, giving us pennies on the dollar for money just sitting in their bank. Well, it's a digital number. Think about that.
It's a made up number.
A made up number. Yeah. What's that movie that just came out on Netflix? Leave the World Behind.
Oh yeah.
If the Matrix goes down. And so we all looking, we checking. I call it the phonies. You go everywhere, everybody's on your phone. The phonies. Everybody being phony.
You got to make a song out of that. You need a music video.
I want to do a short about that, where everybody's on the phone. Because I got in the elevator the other day. Everybody's on the fucking phone. Yeah. But my point, so our bank accounts are on our phone, on our computers. What if they erase that shit? So your number that you look at every day, checking your shit, it goes down. Now, they say that there's a grid where Bank of America and these banks, it records all the time so that if there was a breakdown, a cyber attack, they could find your money again. But who's to say? It's just a number on the screen.
Well, isn't that what they're thinking about doing with digital currency?
Yeah.
It's taking, they want to remove cash. They want to give you a digital currency. And maybe if you don't behave enough, they can take your number down.
Hello. Or they can tap right into your digital currency.
That's the whole point.
Who wants that access?
Well, we giving them everything else.
Same with the cars. Back to that movie, Leave the World Behind. Everybody's gonna have electric cars, right? Okay, what about when they tap into your car, or somebody taps in who's a devilish type person and makes all the cars crash like they did in that movie, or they just lock the fucking doors and say, "Sorry, you didn't pay your taxes this year. Doors are not unlocking, and police are on the way to come get you." Mm-hmm. Who wants that type of control over that?
But we're not doing everybody because we're not doing anything about it.
What the fuck movie are y'all watching? How do I get the sign behind me? Hey, production. Hey, wait, this way. There we go. What the movie are y'all? Wait, there we go. What the fuck movie are y'all watching? But yeah, man, how are we going to combat this, man? If we the people don't galvanize, mobilize, and stop letting the powers that be, this little small percent, keep punking us, at what point do we the people take our power back? That's the fucking problem.
Well, it's either now or never.
For sure.
I mean, we can see where the cliff is right over there, and they're creating a gravity to kind of force us to jump over. So we don't do nothing now, then we've already died. It's a slow death.
They kill all the leaders though that try to do something.
So, but if we don't do nothing, it's a slow death.
It's a slow death.
Either way, yeah. Do you want an instant death where you go out like a man is painless, or do you want that slow kind of like torturous, agonizing death?
Or do we want to be a part of the movement to fix the shit while in our lifetime, and we can see the benefits from it once it changes? Because there's enough for everybody. How the fuck can we grow tons and tons of marijuana, but we can't grow enough food to feed everybody?
I like that part.
Hello, we can't.
I like that solution based.
We can't solution based. Everything should have a fucking solution.
Yeah.
Homeless. That's what we're going to tackle right now. So
well, just briefly, I was doing it's funny you talking about homeless. I was doing my homeless research today. Right. And one of the things that's creating a problem with homelessness is housing is the cost, the construction, the wood.
Yeah.
But hemp, you can build hemp houses.
There you go.
And hemp houses is a lot more cheaper. So why aren't we using our ingenuity, our creativity?
Because it's too much of this. Everything can't be about money. Healthcare, food, and fucking living every day should not be in our economy. It should be, I don't think it should be privatized. I think healthcare, food, certain things, I don't think should be, I don't know, people are going to argue with me on that, but I think healthcare should be like a given. You're born, we should,
I agree 1,000%, but the point is that anytime government is doing something, they don't do it too well.
But we just talked about changing that shit. It's time for a fucking change.
Theoretically, you're saying that we can have a government that actually is efficient.
That actually cares about you.
And really working for the people. Is that... Okay, anything is possible.
Wait, hold on. So they gave us this. Let's go to another subject, but we're going to get back to that one. So the government, they care about us so much about this vaccine that they just had. Oh, we want you to be safe. Now that it's gone, we don't want to talk about helping you no more. We don't care about your health care no more. We don't care about your health. We don't care about you eating healthy. We don't care about your weight. We don't care about, but last year in 2020, we cared so much that we'll give you free donuts, strippers, weed, prostitutes if you take this vaccine. Brought to you by Pfizer. Wait, but I care about you. You need to take this. It's good for you. Brought to you by Pfizer. So who the fuck? You really care? Or are you making this money, Pfizer? Why you don't care now?
You care about the lobbyists, the people who is actually promoting your pockets.
Right.
That's what you care about. But then you're putting it back like I really care for the people.
Right.
That's what you're telling people.
Absolutely, and I agree. Back to what you said, building the houses with him. Another thing we could add to that is solar power. Why are you charging me to use the sun? If you put solar panels on your house, it still has to go through the grid to the power company, and then they get to use the extra power, and they say, you can lease this unit, and we'll put it on your house, and you get free power. But we're going to take all the extra power and go sell it. You can use enough for you. But if the power grid goes down, you really can't use the power on your own. You can't just use the sun. If you're not paying us, basically, you can't use the sun. You can't use God.
Well, I have solar.
Correct.
And so I actually create more power than I use.
Right. So where do you store it?
So the bottom line, I'm supposed to get some credits at the end of the year.
Right.
I'm waiting for that to work out because I just got it.
Okay.
So
how do those credits work? You can sell them back to the state, or
yeah, you sell them back to Edison.
Okay.
And then you get a certain amount. Either you can get a check or you can just apply it to future bills.
So do you pay a power bill at all?
Oh yeah, I paid the leasing company for the solar people.
The leasing company.
So I lease
the equipment,
the solar panels.
Got it. For
a certain amount a month.
Right.
Right now, it was a little bit more than my normal bill.
Okay.
But then if you look at a 25-year lease, electricity is going to go up.
Right.
So in 10 years, I'll be winning. I'll be winning
so
next year.
You own it? Is it leased to own, or you always?
I can buy it, but now leasing, that means they come out and repair and do everything that I want, and I don't have to worry about the ownership.
So with you paying the lease, do you save money by just leasing the equipment as opposed to just paying a regular power bill?
When I see how much I get back from my credits, I believe so. I need to see that process.
Yeah,
I need to see the $700.
It should be a lot easier than this, really, if you think about it.
Well, but now when you talk about technology, what's keeping you from being completely off the grid is to get a battery storage.
The guy who was trying to sell me, he told me about that. Right, those are hella expensive.
Right now, so they're expensive. It's because right now we don't the resources like the natural components.
Right. And if you want a big storage, it's even more money.
Yeah.
And it's only going to, I think the guy told me it'll last for like a week. You can't totally be off the grid. I mean, what if I keep going back to that movie because I thought it was a great movie. It's very thought-provoking. But what's it called? When the World Ends or whatever.
Yeah.
Why wouldn't we have enough power to be able to sustain ourselves in case some shit happened off the grid? Why is there not an option that says, hey,
Because you got to depend on Big Brother.
Okay, well, that's what we're back here talking about. Big Brother. We're still fucking with the Constitution. When was that shit written?
1776.
1776. Can we rewrite the motherfucker? Don't you think it's time? It's 2024. Don't you think we should update it a little bit?
But not even enforcing what's there. What about the First Amendment?
Come on.
I mean, isn't that what we were talking about at the beginning of the show? Like, we should be able to say they've actually created an alternative way to keep us not talking about things. You know,
because distraction
and these little punishments.
The Super Bowl's coming. Oh, basketball's on right now. Trump. He showed somebody his weenie.
Well, don't forget about Cat Williams.
And Cat Williams all day long. Well, you don't want to talk about that stuff. Yeah. Solar and homeless? Yeah. No, Cat Williams.
Yeah. And did you bet on the game today?
Yeah, exactly. All day, nonstop. Information. Stop thinking about serious stuff, man. Go get laid or something. Go eat some Chick-fil-A. Watch this new reality show. That's why we're here, to tell you this is the movie we should be watching and should be talking about. So let's get to our topic. Homeless. I want to talk about the homeless. I also want to talk about, I made some notes, landlord rights, because I know you're a landlord. I'm also a landlord in the real estate business. I want to talk about how they're screwing over landlords and they're giving tenants these rights that just screw the landlord. Is a reason why I feel like they're trying to get people out of the real estate business, and it seems like all of these big corporations are starting to buy up all the houses at the same time. So is that another form of control coming, or where people won't actually own stuff and the corporations will end up owning our homes and owning our cars and or controlling our cars via electric cars, and another form of control? Is that what's happening?
Well, it was Chase. It was a big, large bank a couple of years ago. And they bought like $1 billion worth of single-family dwelling housing.
Yeah, that's what I'm talking about. The corporation, right? Go ahead.
And then we all know about, and you should know more than anything about, people buying houses in cash out here.
Oh yeah,
fixing them up, especially when we had the low interest rates,
right.
And then putting them back out on the market. So,
what's the problem with that? I don't understand.
Well, no, but they were buying, you're competing against, Joe Blow and who wants to get a house for their family and stuff.
Oh, right.
And you're going to outbid them,
right?
And they can fix it up for cheaper.
Right.
So it's more difficult for somebody to get a decent house.
Right.
So you're competing against the average person.
For sure.
So I'm not saying that's good or bad, but that's creating a competition.
Absolutely.
So Joe, average person, can get a house.
Can't get a house. It's tougher.
Yeah. It's going to be more expensive. Because now you got to bid against somebody who's got straight cash.
And you can't, and the person who's selling is going with over your 3% FHA loan, which could go down the toilet if you lose your job. He's going to go with the cash offer any day, even if it's $20,000 less. Quick close, 2 weeks cash. I'll take that over the 30-day. Maybe he'll close, maybe he won't. Maybe the market will crash in between time. Give me my money now. I'm out.
Yeah,
that's what the seller's thinking, and I understand that. There's a balance there. I believe that people have to be realistic, especially in LA, with the prices being so high, on where you can buy and where you can't buy, because they're pricing us out of our own neighborhoods, as we well know, in View Park, Baldwin Hills, Ladera Heights. Who can afford to go grab a $1.4 million house these days? Not too many people.
What the taxes are? $1.4 million?
Yeah, the taxes, the interest rate, your monthly payment is crazy. But
you're paying $2,000 a month at least on the taxes.
At least. On taxes and insurance.
Yeah, insurance is doubled now, so.
Right. I don't think the taxes are quite that high, $2,000, but with taxes and insurance. But your whole note is going to be more than, or right around what the rents are going for, right? So let's say your mortgage is $3,600. Rents are damn near, for a 2-bedroom, or what? $2,000. You know better than me here. Yeah, I do a lot of stuff in the Midwest.
You can get a decent one for about 25 to 27, 2-bedroom.
Okay.
Not the luxurious things that they're building, but something like where we're at.
Right. The difference is buying. You got to put down. If you're not a first-time home buyer, which is 3% down, you got to put down 10 to 20%. Most likely for a multifamily or investment property, 20%. And who has a loose $300,000 to put down? How many people just got only $300 down?
Yeah,
I got that. Drop in a bucket. Not too many people can do that. And so they're pricing a lot of people out. But not to get off the subject, the homeless problem, the landlord rights. What's your opinion on this? Just recently, China came to San Francisco, and the leader of China, what do you call him? what do you call the communist
Prime
leader?
minister,
The prime
or,
minister,
you know,
whatever.
or the
I don't know,
dictator in
the
China.
dictator, whatever his name is, Biden's homeboy, comes to town. They clean up San Francisco. All the homeless are now off. All the feces and urine, clean it all up, get it all nice and beautiful because he's coming to town. Put up the China signs and all that, blah, blah, blah. Why don't they do that on a regular day? And then he leaves and it's back to the same old shit where it's almost like they're destroying. Just what we're seeing downtown LA, same thing. How do we not have, with all the land that we have between here and Las Vegas and just in Inland Empire and in between there and Barstow and all, we could build facilities that are, say, phase 1, you know, if you're having mental health, phase 2, if you're a veteran and you're having what's it called? PTSD. And phase 3, if you just fell upon hard times and we need to get you back acclimated to get a job, and we're gonna give you your mental health coverage that you need in these facilities. We're going to house you for a minute. We're going to figure out which tier you need to be at, and then we're going to help you get back into society. But how can somebody just come into the city and just plant their flag anywhere? So this is a 2-part question, because the first one I want to talk to you is about San Francisco, and then we'll get into a facility for the homeless. What do you think about the San Francisco question?
Well, you know, it's dog and pony show. You know, it's just like when when we were younger and I didn't keep my place so clean, you know, I just said, oh, she's coming by, so I want to scrape this stuff
right.
underneath the rugs and
Throw
stuff.
shit in the closet,
put the shit in the closet, you know, put a
Vacuum
little air
real
pressure.
quick. Yeah.
Just get the little ambiance there, and then I go back to my regular ways. Well, that's what we did here, and we don't care about the homeless problem. We care about our visitor coming in and looking good for our visitor.
And how could we ever vote for a governor that does something like that? Why are we the people? I know they have us in capitalism to where a lot of people can't afford to be a revolutionary or even sit down and have a podcast like this because they're so on the fucking clock that they have to be to work tomorrow and they don't have time to break. And that was done on purpose. That's why people were the Rothschilds and all of these companies, the BlackRocks. They keep people just working because they're actually slaves and they don't realize it. They're just stuck on the clock. So they can't really fight the system. But at some point, they did it in the 60s and the 70s and the 50s, and where people actually got together and fought the system by way of, you know, marches. Boycotts. Are we boycotting Apple, who keeps screwing us every year with the new phone that doesn't even do anything different than the last one, but they change all the they're constantly fucking us over and keeping us as sheep to keep spinning the hamster wheel. But we never stand up for our fucking selves anymore. Why don't we, the people, get together and say, hey, we're not getting gas for 2 weeks until you lower, and I bet you it goes from $6 to $3 real quick. But we, the people, why is there not a union or something to help galvanize us to get?
Well, we've been raised since day one to only think of ourselves. You know,
Right.
we live in an egotistical society.
Right.
We have a lot of narcissists that we were raised on reality TV.
Right.
Then, you know, with survival, I got to think about myself first. And
Distractions.
Yeah.
And the Super Bowl's on.
Yeah, exactly. And so there's the whole thing. We were cultured to be separated. Okay. You know, men and women are separated.
Yeah.
You know, if you didn't have the homeboys that you grew up with, you know, you wouldn't have that family structure with your homies because you grew up with them and you guys
Right.
been through a lot.
Right.
But a lot of people haven't had that. They grew up with the little monitors now.
Right.
So they don't even have what we had.
Right. I agree.
So they don't even know. They don't play no team sports anymore. They don't realize that, oh my God, I'm relying on this guy right here.
Yeah.
And then if you look at the way they even market sports, it's all about the MVP.
Right.
Well, you know, I'm sure Lamar, he couldn't do shit if he didn't have an offensive line that was doing some stuff for him, you know, and doing the receivers. It's a whole team, but all they want to do is talk about the individual.
Right.
So we've been trained to think, and then when we were growing up, you know, oh yeah, I'm gonna go solo. I'm gonna do it by myself, you know, and I had all the digital skills to edit, to film, to animate, but could I cohesively, efficiently utilize all those talents together? Hell the fuck no.
Right, not by yourself.
No, but I grew up thinking I could.
Now, on this subject, if we all got together and said, look, the homeless is a major problem. My kids go outside, they got to step over shit, human, in America. The richest country, you go up the coast, you see all of these billionaires. You know, I want to knock on people's door and say, what do you do for a fucking living? Oh, it's old slave money. No, but you just go up any coast, Beverly Hills, everywhere you go, you see millions of millionaires. But we go down our streets and we see tents everywhere. At what point do we say enough is enough and we say we're going to fix this? Even in our ghettos, we've been seeing, the problems for the longest with not just homeless, with the drug addicts and things of that nature. At what point do we get together and say, hey, we need to move that to a certain section of the neighborhood so we don't have that element around children in our community, right? And how do we fix it in totality? Like you said, if we do it individually, we're just going to be like barking, and it's going to be like a chihuahua barking at a tree. It's just nothing's going to ever happen. Collectively, if we say we're no longer going to deal with this shit, what could we do, you think, to get the government's attention to say, this is it? Because voting, I don't want to hear that shit no more. Get out. That's why you have to vote. You have to vote on a lower level, not just the president, which I agree. You do have to vote on the lower level. I get that. But how fucking long do we have to wait? Let's do the shit right now. All that, we got to wait till the next person's in office. Fuck all that. I'm so sick of that excuse. Let's get to the business right now.
Well, one, we got to hold our politicians accountable. Right now, California, this is a 2021-22 estimate. They allocated $7.2 billion in that year for homelessness.
Right.
And we had about 172,000 homeless people around that time. That's like 42,000 per person. Each person. And you can live pretty good in a rent area for like, what, 30,000 a year?
So you telling me all the homeless got 42 G's in their pocket? They're about to all get robbed. No, but where's it allocated to, though? Is it given to them personally, or is it just allocated to
No.
It's the lobbyists got it? Who got the fucking money?
It's given to the state budget.
Okay.
And then they go ahead and allocate it to these, shelters or mental health. And, you get all these different programs,
And the program does something, but it don't do everything.
But it's not reaching.
We have board members that have to get paid.
In some nonprofits, they do take a little bit off the top.
The CEO's got to get paid. He needs his $100,000 off of the $250 that we got.
We need to take a look at those budgets.
150 is going to the community, but $1 is going to him. 50 is going to the sound guy and this guy and the marketing team, and then we got now $100,000 going to the people. At what capacity, though? And at what point do we say, you can't just plant your flag on somebody's sidewalk and say, I live here? When the hell did that start being okay? Oh, I like this spot right here. I'm going to put my tent up right here. I live here now. And you mean the police can't come say, what the fuck are the police for then? They can't come say, sorry, I understand it's probably mental health, and I get that. That's a very touchy subject, and I'm not being insensitive to the fact that they need that help and that treatment. And it should be a thing where we don't arrest them, but we give them an option to be helped. Or at that point, we can't jeopardize somebody getting harmed in the community, or a kid getting sick from the feces, or littering all over the place for that matter. We can't afford that. So here are the options. And if that person can't receive those options, then clearly they're in a mental space that they need help, and we need to get them the help. And we don't need to defund the police. We need to fund the police to do the right fucking thing for once. Make right decisions, not shoot the unarmed black man. They can, we need to train the police properly.
I think you're going to have to, as you just said before, those different tiers.
Yeah.
We got to identify, okay, well, what situation are you in? 1, 2, or 3, as you just mentioned before, We got to put you in the proper, mental health facility.
Yeah.
If necessary.
Yeah.
A temporary living situation where you get some vouchers.
Right, there you go.
We can go, and maybe it can be coordinated with Airbnb.
See, there you go.
Then Airbnb can be given some, money back and stuff like that, as far as a certain percentage. The point is that we got to hold our government accountable. And then each and every one of us, every one of us, have to realize that we have to contribute to the homeless situation.
We do.
It's not
it's
just
all
because
of our issue.
It's all, and you could be next.
Yeah. But the next person could be, So some people are, they say the average person doesn't have $1,000 in the bank account. So there are a lot of people are skating on being homeless or right on that line, especially in the expensive cities.
And then identify who's sleeping in their cars.
So many.
Yeah, and then, well, can we get them a parking lot?
Right.
Oh, but you got to give them a parking lot, but they got to be in by 9, and they can't leave till like 7. Like, what kind of?
Right.
What kind of restrictions? I'm not 10 years old no more.
Right.
I need the freedom to be able to. Hey, I need to leave, but now I got to get your permission.
I might have a night job or something.
Yeah, and that's the same thing with sometimes shelters. You feel restricted in the ability the space that they are allocating for you.
Right.
They're making you feel maybe like a 12-year-old.
A 12-year-old. Yeah. I know it's a touchy subject, but it has to be done as opposed to just being able to go on Venice Beach and say I live here. Now you can't even go to Venice Beach anymore and enjoy it because there's homeless tents everywhere and you're tripping over a dude's foot sticking out of a tent. And my daughter got to hop over the feces and I'm like, I don't even want to go anymore. But we're paying all these taxes. So where are my tax dollars going? So that's something that I think, is like a major issue that in a beautiful place like California, in one of the biggest economies in the world, which is California, it's bigger than most countries. We need to actually start making that happen. Another thing I wanted to, the tax allocations to the homeless, shouldn't that be like on the website to where we can see exactly how that money's being allocated, so then we can hold people accountable if they're not spending the money right? Also, there should be an opportunity for developers to say, hey, we're going to develop these facilities for the homeless. We could have hospitals and people in the healthcare business to say, hey, we're going to hire more doctors and more nurses to help these homeless people, which means we need more counselors, we need more what do you call it? People in mental health that actually, social workers, and we have allocation to all of those departments so that we can actually try to start fixing the problem.
Well, supposedly they're allocating more to the mental health, and they've got these bills that have supposedly been passed by our state government, state senators, and our governor, and they're waiting to implement that. And of course, let's see how it's done. But we go back to that original thing. Can the government do something, and can it do it efficiently? That's why we always want to give it to the private sectors, and then sometimes the private sectors, we get greedy. We try to, take a little bit off the top, and we're not doing it. So
greed is the problem. So,
greed is the problem,
and lack of accountability for the way companies, nonprofits can maneuver within capitalism. It needs to be some regulations on how you can move, and there should be penalties if you don't move a certain way. You get caught, you actually lose something that's significant to you. Your business license, you lose these things, you go to jail, whatever the case may be. I think it would be a lot less misallocation of funds. Now, another thing I want to talk about was the landlords. To me, it's shady because they give the tenants all these rights to squat. We all know that if you live somewhere, you got to pay the bill. And I get it. If hard times come, okay, maybe you get 3 to 6 months to either find a job or you got to go. Giving these people years and making the landlord have to go to court, and because the courts want money, here we go on the capitalism. The judge wants you to keep coming back to court. The lawyer's getting the money. Everybody's just dicking the landlord. Even during COVID, when they gave the tenants the right to just stay there, they never gave the landlords anything. They never said, hey, banks didn't say, okay, well, let's put your payment from this payment due in February, we're going to put it to the back of the loan. You still owe it, but we're going to move it because we got to let this tenant stay here for 3 months. So every month that they stay, we're going to take a note and put it to the back of the loan. The banks aren't hurting. They're not going out of business no time soon. Why are they not helping the landlords like that? What the movie are y'all watching? Why would we allow that? It's just fucked up. And it enables people to say, oh, guess what? I can be a squatter. I can get Section 8. And we give all these programs that don't really help people. We think they're helping people, but they're not really helping people. And now we create laws where they can just sit in your house and say, I just live here, and you can't do anything about it. What do you think we should do about that?
Well, let's think about you. You're a music guy, right?
Yep.
Okay, so you remember, the late 90s, early 2Ks with MP3s, right?
Correct, yeah.
And then everybody was downloading them for free, right?
Mm-hmm.
And they allowed that to fester for years, right? Mm-hmm. Before they start to really do Apple and digitize it, right?
Right.
But what was the mindset of people who for like 5 years were getting music for free?
For them, it was a come up.
They had a mindset like music is free.
Music is free. I don't got to pay for it no more. Which I think that's another subject that we're going to tackle on here. I don't think music should be free.
I get it, but you know what it did.
For sure.
And then so we paying these little $9.95.
People got comfortable.
Yes.
It was one less bill they had to pay. They don't care about you as an artist. I get to listen to your music for free. Fuck you. Thanks.
Yeah, exactly. You program the whole generation of people to realize there's no value in music anymore where I have to pay for it.
Well, they used to police it. Remember? They used to try to police it where you couldn't download it for free. People like Taylor Swift, certain people say, you're not downloading my shit. It's not on a streaming service. You got to pay me for my music. I believe that's what... Because hip hop is the top genre, I think that's why they gave away music for free. It was too many Puffies, too many Jay-Z's, too many Master P's, too many. Imagine if music was selling, Drake would be a trillionaire. If all of these little artists,
too many independent,
too many, we were capitalizing.
Yes,
come on, man. The people that infiltrated The Black Panthers that brought crack to the community. These same CIA people, you think they didn't see what was happening with hip hop and say, yo, we're going to have about 200 billionaires in the next 10 years if we don't throw a monkey wrench into this free music shit. Into this music shit. How can we do it? Well, if the music's given away for free, they still make money off touring and shit. But imagine if Lil Baby was actually selling records. He would be a fucking billionaire.
What about the kind of like derivatives of hip hop where you had the clothing line?
Yeah.
And you had all these other businesses.
Well, those are still going.
Not really. Remember, man,
those are still going. You can still market that's the only way they make music now. Is to market something out of music.
I get it, but you remember you had all these brands. You had Puffy had a brand.
Snoop
Dogg had a brand. Aniche had a brand.
Yeah. Sean John, you had Rockaware, you had all those things.
Yeah, you keep going. You see my language here?
Yeah.
How many,
they took us out of that.
Yeah. How many can you name now?
You can't name very many. They always take us out of those industries because they don't want us, and they put the puppets in place. The guys I believe like Jay-Z and these guys who are going to move in a certain way where they're not going to rock the boat too much. Exactly. They're getting their money. So, they're like, I ain't really going to say nothing. I see that they stopped the clothing line stuff. They're not even discussing distribution by now. You would think Jay-Z would have a distribution company as big as he is. We can't distribute our own music that we make.
What was the guy that was that did Ja Rule, the big producer?
Irv Gotti, yeah.
Yeah, you saw what they did to him when he was trying to.
Yeah, IRS came and shut us down. But see, we keep getting punked because we're not mobilized. Mm-hmm. So they can always come in and infiltrate and knock off kill one dude, make it look like the guy got Nipsey. I still don't believe in that Nipsey. In my opinion, I have to believe that was MK Ultra. That brother was on that shitty cuz came and killed Nipsey. That's a whole nother subject. I feel like whenever, just like the Dr. Sebi documentary, Nick Cannon, what happened? You were supposed to finish Dr. Sebi story. What happened? All of a sudden, he's not finishing the documentary no more. Why? They probably came to him and made him an offer he couldn't fucking refuse. Hey, you bring that healthcare shit in here that's healing people. We need cancer out here because we're selling radiation and what's it called that you get to chemotherapy. Yeah, we're selling chemotherapy. We don't need any food that's going to heal you. So kill the guy who's putting out that documentary. And at what point is enough enough?
Well, and then to answer the second part of your question, going back to the landlord.
Yeah.
So I was just comparing it how now people feel like they can get free apartments.
Right.
Free places to rent because they've been doing it for years now.
Yeah.
And they've been actually skating around the line,
Put on my suit and come. Yeah. Fill out my application, and once I get in there, I'm not paying shit.
I've had that. So they created that mindset, and then now you're squeezing out the middleman. Right. You're squeezing out the mom and pop. You're making it a little bit more difficult.
Same thing Amazon did.
Yeah, exactly.
So you're squeezing out the landlords, now chasing them, come buy up all the properties because the landlord's so frustrated he don't even want to do this business no more.
Because it's so hard.
It's too hard.
It's not. It used to be called passive income.
Now
it's not passive anymore.
It's active now. You got to work your ass off to get it now. It ain't passive no more.
You do.
And you know what? Niggas started learning that. They don't like when black people start learning that. Oh, you're figuring out real estate? Oh, we got to change the rules. Switch the rules around. Have you seen the movie The Banker?
No. Oh, was that the...
it's with Samuel L. Jackson.
Yes, I did see it. It was on Apple, right?
Yeah.
Yeah, I did see it.
That's a fucking true story.
Yeah?
That's a true story. How they did those brothers who were starting banks and buying real estates. They came in and infiltrated them, brought up some false charges. So I made a post about that the other day, right? I'm like, we're so busy talking about The Color Purple and the movie The Banker's on, and nobody's talking about that. How they owned banks in the 60s and 70s and were owning property and teaching us how to build banks to give back to our communities. And then here comes the IRS. Here comes the FBI and the CIA to put the brothers in jail and frame them and do all the shady shit that they always do to Negroes when we start learning something. And nobody's talking about this movie. So I made a post about it, and guess what? My boy El Hameen, a.k.a. White Boy Eric, hits me and says, yo, buddy, that's Tony and Chris's dad. The Garretts, they grew up in View Park. It's my homeboy Tony's dad is Bernard Garrett. So Tony's gonna come on the show. What the movie are y'all watching? I talked to him the other day. He's gonna be one of my guests on this show to talk about The Banker. But my point is, and our point is, I forgot how you brought that up, but
I was talking about, the investment of being a landlord.
Of being a landlord, right.
And squeezing out the
middle. That whole movie was about him being a landlord, squeezing out the middleman, and taking us out of the loop as black people, for sure. Mm-hmm. But I think even white people and other landlords are looking at this shit like, what the fuck?
Well, no, it's not a color thing as much. They start on us, but it's going down, up and down California.
Yeah.
And white Oriental, no matter who you
Jewish,
are,
yeah.
you know, the reliability of getting that rent every month
Yeah.
and paying that, it's a lot more difficult.
Than it was
And they're
before.
giving a lot more power to the tenants.
Yeah.
To where, like in Canada, what do we call it, cash for keys?
Yeah, cash for
They're
keys.
asking like $50,000 to walk out the place now.
I got to give you money to walk out of my spot.
Exactly,
my place.
exactly.
And-
But here's the thing that the tenants don't realize. See, I just looked at this real estate broker. It's a combination. We have to work together.
Right.
The landlords and the tenants, we need each other.
Right, for sure.
And the tenants, they need mom and pop owners.
For sure.
Because when big corporations gonna take
They
over,
ain't gonna play that shit. They're gonna
Yeah.
change the laws then.
Yeah, they're gonna change
you
it back
don't
to-
pay. They're gonna have it to where you have to have credit to rent,
You
and
want-
your credit's on the line. If you don't pay, we can call the police and move your ass out tomorrow. So you got until the end of the motherfucking month, or you got to go.
Exactly.
And if you damage some shit, it's coming out your security deposit, and I can put a judgment on your name to garnish your wages when you do go get a fucking job.
Exactly.
And that's how it should be now. It should be just like that right now. If we rent something, we all know, if you go in a store, you can't just walk out with the shirt.
Oh, whoa,
If
whoa,
you-
whoa. No, yeah, you can.
Well, oh, in California, goddamn.
What's he talking about? You got
See,
to rob $950,
Or you go to jail.
or it's a misdemeanor. So I see it all the time. I go to Amazon, little.
What the movie? Are y'all watching the same shit we seeing, or are you watching a different channel? Because you can walk, and say that one more time, you can walk in the store and take how much?
You could walk up and take up to $950 worth of merchandise, and it won't be a felony.
And not go to
It'll be
jail.
a misdemeanor. And since it's a misdemeanor, most people won't even
Won't take you to jail.
prosecute
They
you.
just give you a ticket.
They won't even prosecute you. They won't even they won't call the police. I see it in Amazon all the time where, you've got some people that look like us
Yeah.
just walking in the store with the little bottles, and they just walk out. And then they're like, you can't even touch them, because now if you touch them, you can get an assault charge, or you can maybe, get some civil suit.
How do we change these laws? I guess that's the bottom line. So we want to end this on a positive note. If there's anybody out there who wants to be the guest on WTF and tell us how we change these laws on a lower level, how do we get the communities involved to change these laws that we know in our mind, we know what's right and what's wrong. We know how things are supposed to go. The government knows how things are supposed to. Why is everybody pretending like they don't see what's right in front of their fucking face these days? Why is it everybody's pretending they don't see this shit? And that's how I came up with this, because I was always talking shit on my Instagram, and I would just say, what the fuck movie are y'all watching? And everybody thought that was so funny, because I'll be honest, I'm watching something and it's like, I see it, but people aren't talking about this shit. It's just happening right in front of our face. The homeless stuff, we kind of talk about it, and then it's like, okay, so you going to the Laker game? You see the Lakers last night? Mm-hmm. Immediately, our attention span, because of the phonies, we can't stay focused on anything for 10 minutes. Yeah. And so what we want to do is we want to galvanize the community. Please like, subscribe, share, pass this along. We want to know your comments on this. We want to get the right people in here so that we can revisit some of these conversations and some of these topics and fix them. Because at the end of the day, we're all God's children, love and light. We want everybody to win. We want everybody to have a nice place to live. We want everybody to have health care. How do we go about that? We're the greatest people on this earth. We can do it right here in our lifetime. So let's do it. WTF. I'm your host, Bambino Brown. Mikael is in the building with me. And we're going to get up out of here, and we'll see you on the next episode of What the Fuck Movie Are Y'all Watching? Peace.
All right, clear. That's that bread and circus.
But that's the type of shit. You're right, man. I kind of liked yesterday that they had the shit on Peacock because I couldn't watch it. I was like, you know what? I need to do some other shit anyway. I'll look at my app later. When it's available for me, I'm gonna fuck around, sit around and watch it instead of go take care of some shit I need to take care of. You know, accessibility is a motherfucker.
Yeah.
You know.
Yeah.
So yeah, just keep me posted, man. On
yeah, we get this. Today is Sunday.
Yeah.
We should have something completed by Tuesday.
Okay. Cool. So just email me the invoice and I'll get it over to you.
All right.
And then
great,
so
man.
I'm gonna talk to my boy. You gotta watch the movie The Banker.
Oh, you saw it? I'll watch it again.
It's fucking.
Because now that you said he lived in the
he's gonna come on the show. He said he's ready anytime to talk about it.
That'd be great.
You know what? Because you know what I told him. You guys are old moneyed, in my opinion. Just like the people in Manhattan Beach, that they gave their brothers back their land, and they sold the shit right back to the city.
No, they didn't.
As soon as they got it, so they went through all of this. I think they got maybe scared into it. I don't know if the people of
they only got a couple mil.
It was like 15 mil or some shit like that.
And that land's worth
way more. So what I want to know is, that don't make no sense, bro. It ain't no way you had Manhattan Beach real estate and you decided to sell it right back to. You didn't put it on the market to go with the highest bidder. You just decided to give it back to the city. No, it was some strong arm shit. That shit don't add up. So they gave them back a settlement and they gave it right back to the city. But my thing is, had the city never done that to the people of Manhattan Beach, how big would our black community be in Manhattan Beach? It's way bigger than just them. A lot of us would have had businesses because we knew that our people were in Manhattan Beach. So we should have been all compensated a bit from that. And so what I told Tony was, when I looked online, Joe Morris and Bernard Garrett's empire was worth $150 million in today's money back then. They came in, they put the white boy as the face, and then the the government, CIA came in and infiltrated off of some bullshit loan that the white boy did, not the black dude. The white dude wiggled some paperwork, and they said, well, we need you to frame it on the black guys because we want to get them out of here. I feel like their family is owed the money on what that empire was worth. Not only that, it's 6 siblings. The son, Junior, sold the rights to Apple TV without his siblings, who they were beefing because he molested one of the kids or something. So they ousted him out of the family. He goes and makes a deal for their family story with Apple TV, sells the rights, and all the family gets mad and tries to stop it. That's why it didn't come out in 2020. They had some problems. Apple TV says, take your name off of it, Bernard, because you got the shit with your family. Paid him under the table, took his name off, and still put the movie out. So then they fucked us again on the movie. So they fuck us out of the land and all of that in the story. And then with the movie, they fuck us. And I feel like they didn't theatrically release it because they really don't want that. No, who's talking about that movie? Nobody. They don't really want us to know about that movie.
Didn't that come out during 2020? Yeah.
Nobody's talking about that shit because they don't want us to know these stories, Black Wall Street and all of these stories where we actually did something for ourselves. They'll say shit like, well, pull your bootstraps up. And why you always got to pull the race card? Pull the race card? Everything y'all do is against us as the race card. You infiltrated the brothers in that film because of the race card. All the people pulled their money out the bank as soon as they found out the black people owned them, and then wrote nigger business on all the businesses. Don't patronize nigger money. And so now none of the businesses could do
prosper.
Anything. So we do Black Wall Street. We do all these things. We pull our bootstraps up, and then you come cut our boots off again. We can't win for shit in this country. What is that about? There's something to that, and what I think it is they're scared that if we ever get it together, we're going to take over if we were to monopolize and just to say capitalize on hip hop alone, distribution, sales, if we were to capitalize on that, we would empower too much money in our community. But why are they so fearful of that? Why are they so fearful of us to wake up?
Sometimes they're afraid of that black Jesus, that kid being born. I think they got a premonition that
the Savior is black, the Savior of mankind.
I wouldn't say one Savior, but that God is finding a solution for the newborn with the black people in America because of the genetics, because of the history. I think they know something.
The original man is eventually going to come back on top.
So they try to do the abortion. They try to do everything they can.
Drugs.
Yeah. So whatever. Even if the kid is born, he's sent on a different collision course for all kind of
The
stuff.
LGBT, everything.
Yeah,
they sending everything at us
Yeah, everything.
to weaken us.
Yeah, so in our era, they fucked with the man or the male.
The male. They took out the male. Even in history, whenever they took over an empire, the first people they took out was the warriors and the men. They didn't kill the gays and the flower boys and the politicians. They let live. When they conquered Rome and all those places, they killed the soldiers and the men. They left the gay dudes and the politicians and the women, but they took out anything that was a threat. And that's the same thing that's happening now.
Yeah.
Any men that stand for anything, so they take you out.
Hold on a second. Do you know how to export it?
Shit's deep, bro.